Um, I will be around to listen to the panel, but I do need to leave a bit early, so I just thought it'll be less disruptive if I make my comments now. So good afternoon and thank you. First of all, Mr. Anando, really enjoyed your presentation. And actually all the slides, these are probably some of the most evidence-based and action-driven material that I've seen so far, so it's very easy for us to, the ease of doing business with these slides is quite high, so thank you for that. Let me take your point about the similarities between Bangladesh and Japan. Did you say the flag, the fish, the eating with the hands? I would also say that there are some interesting opposites that should also make us attractive to each other. As they say, opposites attract. And in the economic field, they attract very strongly because that's where you create new value. You have things that we don't have, and we have things that you don't have. I have been going to Japan very frequently over the years, and there was a time in my investment banking career, I had a big team in Tokyo, which required that I be there at least once a month. So I was at Barclays and at UBS. At Barclays, the Tokyo office used to be in Otemachi, just outside the station. And then after we acquired Lehman Brothers, we moved to Roppongi. And so between the two, I used to travel quite a bit. I also started going quite frequently when Abenomics became a thing. Do you remember that? When Prime Minister Abe first came about, I don't know if it's still fashionable to talk about that, but I really liked the framework of the three arrows of Abenomics. You had monetary policy, fiscal policy, and structural reforms. And in many ways, what we're trying to do here is the third arrow of Abenomics in a context where the first two arrows are very different for us. So if you have an aging population, we have a young and population that's getting younger over time, at least for the next decade or so. So I believe the median, the average Japanese, is about 22 years older than the median Bangladeshi. One of the macroeconomic consequences of that is you have a disinflationary, deflationary environment. We're clearly fighting inflation over here. You have a savings rate, which is one of the highest in the world, and a pool of savings looking for deployment opportunities, whereas over here we have fundamentals that need to be turned into investable projects, but once we do that, then that should be one of the attractive destinations for that pool of savings that you have as a country, because the domestic rate of return is quite low. And I remember one of the other things that Abenomics was trying to push out is that your companies, your corporate cash holdings is quite high. So a bit more capex would also be useful. So at a macroeconomic levels, if you bring these two economies together, you have 1 + 1 greater than 2, because it's almost a perfect demand and supply matching at that level. Of course, it's one thing to recognize that conceptually, and quite another thing to be able to give effect to that materially, which is all about execution, implementation. And one of the slides that I found very interesting is the one where you compared us with some of our peer groups, some of the others in the region. And when it came to labor cost, we were right at the bottom or close to the bottom. And when it came to difficulty of doing business, we were somewhere close to the top. And I think both of these numbers need to change. We don't want to be the cheapest place in the world to do business in, and we don't want to be the most difficult place in the world to do business in. Let's compress the gap between the two. Let's create a combination where we are an easier place in the world to do business with, but with the right regulations, with the right standards, the labor standards, sustainability standards, so that wages rightfully can go up as well, because it comes with productivity. individual productivity, but also total factor productivity. So let's work towards that. I know that Japanese, the entire ecosystem, from the government through your agencies to your companies, are extremely consistent, long-standing, permanent friends, partners of Bangladesh in that. So that's the destination. And thank you for joining us on this journey, and see you around. Thank you very much.